Hi friends, Namaste, good evening. Today I am going to introduce a new scheme launched by Government of India, that is Floating Rate Savings Bond Scheme 2020. In my view, it is very much beneficial to the depositors who are not going to take a risk in their investments. Those who opt for deposit their deposits in banks, they may prefer floating rate savings bond scheme. Now we will see about the floating rate savings bond scheme, what it is and how it is operated. Floating rate savings bond scheme launched by Government of India on today, that is July 1st, 2020. The interest rate offered by floating rate savings bond scheme is more than national savings certificates interest rate. That is, presently the interest rate fixed on floating rate savings bond scheme is 7.15%, which is 0.35% more than the interest rate on the national savings certificate, that is 6.80% at present. So the interest rate on the floating rate savings bond scheme is linked with national savings certificates interest rate. That means the national savings certificate interest is reset on two occasions, that is on January 1st of every year as well as July 1st of every year. So whatever the interest rate which is on today, that is July 1st, which will be in force up to December 31st of 2020, and the interest rate on this new scheme will reset on January 1st of 2021. That means for every 6 months the interest rate will be reset. The interest rate is not at all cumulative. That means after completion of 6 months, then whatever the interest accumulated on the bond, that entire interest will be paid out to your savings account. There is no cumulative option. And the minimum investment in this floating rate savings bond scheme is 1000 rupees. There is no maximum limit. Only resident individuals of Indian national only eligible to invest in this scheme. The accumulated interest is taxable and cannot be transferred to one person to another person only at the extreme case, that is of death of the bondholder, and that too the transfer may takes place to the nominee only. And this floating rate savings bond scheme may available in all the nationalized banks like State Bank of India, Union Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, like all the other nationalized banks also you may get this scheme. And this scheme is operated by the nationalized banks on behalf of RBI and Government of India. And you will not get any kind of certificate regarding your investment. Then how? That is, whenever you want to deposit any amount in this floating rate savings bond scheme, then you may approach your nearest nationalized bank and you fill up all the necessary forms, and after submission of your form, then there is a account will be created that is called bond ledger account. In that, your investment will be credited in electronic form and bank will issue an acknowledgement of your investment. Then after completion of the tenure, like that is 6 months, then your interest will be accumulated interest will be credited to your savings account. There is no pre-closure this scheme, the tenure of this bond is of 7 years. If you are a 60 plus years of old, then if your age is in between 60 to 70 years, you may close the bond after completion of 6 years, and if you are in the age of 70 to 80, then you may close the bond after completion of 5 years, and if you are more than 80 years of age, then you may pre-close the bond after completion of 4 years. Whatever the interest you have earned, that is completely taxable, and you cannot use it as a collateral to any kind of loans, as well as no loan should be granted against this bond, and no assignment charge creation against this bond. Then what's my view? See, compared to bank fixed deposits, NSE bonds are giving a little bit of higher interest rate as per my view. That is a minimum of 0.10%. Then this floating rate savings bond scheme gives you more than NSE bond scheme interest rate. That means, in my view, in future also it will give better interest rate than bank's fixed deposit. So if you are a conservative investor and if you don't want to take the risk, then you may test or prefer floating rate savings bond scheme. Thank you.